And basically we're just going to skip right on to video number 2. So sorry about that, but that's basically peristalsis and how it affects the GI system. So the first video was about adrenaline, dizziness, and covered primarily digestion and peristalsis and understanding how things go through the body. With digestion and continuing on to that, the GI system plays a huge role in immunity. You have a lot of things going on there. Like I said, it's a big, massive, it's a 30-foot tube that basically goes around. So that's why you can be having a lot of those stomach cramps, and I can explain that. And also too, like when you have vomiting, vomiting, people actually puke. You ever you almost vomit with anxiety? You almost feel like you're gonna throw up, or you can barely eat your food. Well, actually, the stretching of the stomach and vomiting could be affected by many things, and one of them is psychological stimuli. Okay, so psychological stimuluses. So if you're under emotional distress, it's not a shocker that you might have some issues with vomiting. So I really hope that covers, because some people have anxiety, they have panic attacks, and they feel like they're going to throw up, or they have an upset stomach, or they have diarrhea. And as I covered in my first video, the heart palpitations, the heart going fast with adrenaline, and I hope that kind of covers some things, because realistically, these are natural, scientific things that can be explained, that are explainable. So I don't, want you thinking that you're crazy. These are completely normal. And the next thing I want to get into is heart rate and metabolism. One of the last things I want to cover. And basically with heart rate and metabolism is that simply this: if the adrenaline, which is the hormone again that speeds up heart rate, right, is making everything go faster, so your heart's pumping faster, and that it's going to occur, more blood's coming in, coming out, which is going to raise your blood pressure temporarily. So don't be surprised if you have raised blood pressure either during this process. And basically what happens is you have that raised blood pressure, your heart's beating quicker, that digestive system could be moving faster than normal at resting rates, and so now your heart rate's beating faster. Well, this plays a role into metabolism. Did you ever see somebody that is a hard gainer? I know there's a big market out there, but they're hard gainers. Basically, what I mean by hard gainers is that they're hard to gain weight. Naturally, these people tend to be nervous people, tend to be people that think a lot. In my personal experience, because they have so much anxiety, and the quicker your heart rate goes, anybody knows that has been on ellipticals, foot to pavement, you've done marathons, you can lose weight. You can lose muscle actually, from the fact that your marathon runners can actually lose muscle, but because your heart rate's going so fast that it burns up calories, and so it can affect the metabolism. Anxiety can affect the metabolism. I've kind of found two different kind of components of people with this. One, you'll have people that are very naturally relaxed. Okay, so if there's a fire in the house, you ever know somebody that'd be like, this could burn down, I don't care, And there's people, if something happens, they kind of jump, and they're just nervous. They're naturally nervous, worrisome people. Those types of people that are more laid back can actually gain weight with depression and anxiety, believe it or not, because their body's stimulus and the response is very casual in manner. They're not going to be super worried, if their house is on fire. So, but the person that is that hard gainer typically tends to be that person that, you ever see a person that they can eat a bunch of food, but they never gain weight. How can you eat all that? You never gain weight. Typically that person is probably going to lose weight as a result of anxiety. Hence the word worry yourself to death. You really can. You can actually, not saying anxiety is going to do that. What I'm saying is you can actually speed up your metabolism to a point that it actually burns a lot of calories. So that's one thing. That's one thing that I'd like to cover. But basically, the whole overall perspective, covering video 1, cover video 2, is basically how you're responding to stimuluses and what's stimulating all these things from happening. Okay, so what is stimulating all this from, well, all these things happening? And realistically, you know, I'll go a little bit further since I have some time on this video, is basically you have to be the judge of that. You know, if you find yourself completely fine, like for me, for a great example, I can speak in front of 300 people and be perfectly fine. But prior to doing that, prior to entering a social situation, I can be quite nervous. I'll kind of sit in my car and just kind of relax, kind of breathe. And that kind of helped me. And it kind of, you know, some people have social anxiety. This can happen. You have to know what triggers your anxiety. And so what I like to, you know, and I've gone through the process, you know, these processes, but you just kind of got to, don't breathe and count to 10, because you're going to be focused on counting to 10. Just go, kind of like what's bothering you. You know, acknowledge that something's bothering you. So, but basically I kind of want to throw that in there. I know it has nothing to do with the scientific origins of anxiety, but that's really just to recap what's going on is adrenaline is speeding everything up. It's speeding up your heart rate. It's speeding up your, maybe your GI tract, or those waves we call them, peristalsis, and also to depriving a little bit of the oxygen. So this can all be explained scientifically, naturally, of why you're having your problems. So I just want to let you know that what's happening to you is quite normal, but it's unnormal when the fact that it's happening to you when a dog's not chasing your ass. Kind of like the first video that I gave that example of. We naturally have all these mechanisms in place in our body. Everybody has a peristalsis, everybody has waves, everybody has adrenaline, everybody has oxygen that goes into the body, and everybody has a metabolic heart rate that can affect their metabolism and their homeostasis. So I kind of want to go over that, but I also want to shoot out one thing to you. If you made it this far in this video, is that I did say something earlier in the video, my first video. I said I'm going to cover this, and I'll cover this with you guys right now. Is that anxiety, you're not alone. Okay, I just want to explain this to you. So if you're facing anxiety or OCD or something like that, you're not alone. Because I'm going to explain this to you why. 10% of all people, and this is according to occupational therapy guidelines, you know, that I studied. So I'm going to give this right to you, is that 10% of all people have some sort of anxiety-related disorder. So that's 1 in 10. Approximately 10%. 50% of people will have an anxiety or panic attack episode, just one, but 50% will have one throughout their life, and they won't know. Well, you know, they may not know it's anxiety. So you're not alone. So what I want to say is have some peace with the science that I gave you. Have some peace with what I gave you in my first video, and have some peace with the second video. I want you to have some peace of mind that you're not alone, and all these can be explained very scientifically. Make sure you do have anxiety disorder. If you are having heart palpitations, if you are having problems, rule out physical ailments first, okay? And like I said, EKG, thyroid, all those things can take away from if you have anxiety. Some people can go home with a Holter monitor. You know, I've seen people do it. I haven't really done it myself, but I've seen people do it. So it affects a lot of people. My last recommendation is do not work out while you're having a panic attack or some anxiety. I did that when I was younger, and I'm going to tell you, just don't do it. Just wait and understand you're not alone. So that's the science behind it. I hope I covered a lot of things for you. Like, comment, you know, subscribe. I might be making some stupid videos. So, you know, just kind of take it in stride. Understand the science behind it. Understand that you're really not alone. That 10% of people all deal with this, and 50% secretly or not have had a panic attack or are going to have one. So that's almost half the population. So understand that. Where the serotonin is in your body, covered in video number 1, understand all this. Better you understand yourself and understand what's going on, maybe the more acceptance you can have. And also, one tip too is facing your anxiety. Okay, and you can kind of grow stronger. But hopefully, this brings you some hope. I made this video to understand the scientific processes of anxiety disorder and all that what they can affect, from the heart rate to everything else. Hope you enjoyed it. Got some informational, science concepts on this, and you understand the processes that can happen and the side effects that can happen with anxiety. And this can also affect people with depression and OCD. So it covers the vast majority. Guys, I don't have that much time to cover everything, so I would really like to, but I gotta go.